WV Uncommonplace. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommonplace digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our Uncommonplace.
Welcome to West Virginia Uncommonplace. I have with me Stacey.
Hello.
And last night we flew into Orlando, or we flew in during the day. We got here, had some free time, went around the city, did a few things, and then something happened. The movie M3GAN was available on video on demand, and you can rent it anywhere now, even though it just came out in theaters January 6th, which I know that that's a bit of time in between movies now, but it used to be a movie would be in theaters for 30 to 60 days before. Heck, it would be in a theater sometimes for like a whole year or something, or 6 months before you could even get it released.
You'd have to wait forever before you could watch it.
And this movie is a science fiction horror movie. I just call it a horror movie in the same veins of Annabelle, which I've never seen, and a few other movies like Black Phone. It kind of has that kind of jarring effect on you. So before we get started, I'd like to say this. There are events inside this movie that may trigger people, and if these things do trigger you, please be careful, because you are responsible for your reactions and your actions when you're watching movies. On to that note, I'm going to pass it along to Stacey so she can talk about her first impression of M3GAN.
Well, first, we've got to give the warnings, I think we're going to have to spoil some of the movie. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and then come back and listen, because it's hard to talk about this movie without giving quite a bit of it away. There's still going to be stuff that we won't tell, so you have to go watch it, but you need to make sure you check it out. I liked it overall. I thought it was a really good movie, and we were talking the other day about how we hadn't really had a really good movie since The Black Phone. And we pulled up the picture of this movie, and it said, from producers of Annabelle and The Black Phone. So I think that's why we enjoyed it so much.
And I kind of agree with that. Like, it was something about it that caught me. We were in between getting our luggage and something, and everybody knows the extracurricular activities that I do inside not inside podcasting, but outside in the movie world. So when I seen this, I seen it on, I got an email first about it from Fandango or something like
Voodoo?
that. Yeah, Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Yeah, VUD. Yeah, I got one from them, and I was like, why is this movie already available to release? So I went over and looked, and we were able to gather the movie together. Took a little while, we got it, and then next thing you know, we set up our TV and stuff at our hotel room, because when you're at a hotel, I always forget the HDMI cord. I carry everything else. Heck, I even carry a projector with me to watch movies on. Could have watched it there, but we chose to watch it on a regular TV. Nothing wrong with that. And we got everything hooked up, and then the movie starts. And the way that this movie starts does not tailor at first to what you think you're going to see.
Right, because the trailers makes you think that this is just a possessed doll.
Yeah, basically. Like Chucky.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, except for it was a robot doll.
Right, and that's what I thought. I thought it was like an android doll. Right. And I thought that it would be some crazy killing, like, in the veins of like Purge, or like a slasher movie, like, right. Jason or something.
Right.
And going into it, you find out, I'm not going to I have to give the first part of the story away. You find out something about a young girl, her family. There's an accident at the very beginning of the movie. And this is puzzling to me, because when you see this accident, it's with some kind of freaking Furby toy. The little toy that the sister, the aunt ends up developing. She had a Furby-like toy that she developed beforehand, and it's in the
I must have missed that part.
Yeah, you were on your phone.
Yeah. Like the first minute or two I kind of missed, because I didn't realize the movie was starting. Yeah. The way that we watched it, it didn't have any kind of like introduction or ads or anything like that. So, and you didn't give me a heads up that we were starting it, but okay.
Yeah, so it had this like Furby toy, and you don't know what the Furby toy has to do with any of this, but it's in the car with the girl when they had the car accident.
Because the mom said something, she was playing on her iPad maybe, and the mom said, okay, screen time's over. Yeah, or that's enough screen time or something like that. And
then she starts playing with that Furby toy, and then next thing you know, they're in a car accident, and then this young girl is living with her aunt, which is the sister to the woman that's killed in the car accident.
Right.
And that's where our story goes a little bit further, and I'll let Stacey go ahead and tell a little bit more. Basically, or I'll go deeper.
Okay. It's like, what exactly do you want me to talk about? Like, I don't...
Yeah, so I'll just jump in and say this. So, going more into the plot, you learned the development of M3GAN, why M3GAN was developed. It was something...
Well, I mean, I think what you're trying to tell me to explain is that this little girl lost her parents. She lost both of her parents in a car accident. So she's healing from that. She's got the emotional stuff that's going on. And you have the aunt, no children, from the way that the story is kind of portrayed, didn't have a whole lot to do with the family. You know, it's not like she didn't have anything to do with them. But it wasn't like she was a major part of their life. You know, of course it was her sister and then now Katie's aunt. But they both have a hard time with it. And it wasn't until after, I could only assume it's CPS or DCFS, someone that comes in to make sure the aunt is taking care of her.
Yeah, that's when things get going,
right.
and that's where the aunt decides that, hey, this toy, which is M3GAN, can play with Katie.
Right. Well, because the robot that she had already built, she was showing it to her, and Katie made the statement of, well, if I had a toy this cool, I would never have to have another one again, or something along that line.
Right.
So then it made it click, like, oh my gosh.
And then that's where it started, and that's where the great development of the film goes in, and this is what started taking away from me that hack and slash thought in my head. It was real warm. It gave me a good feeling, like, hey, this
right.
android is helping this girl.
Right. They become best friends, and so then she finally is able to go back to her money supplier. We'll just say that her investor or whatever he's called. I don't know the technical terms, excuse me. But she shows it to her, and she pairs M3GAN with Katie. And she starts to... M3GAN is programmed to develop and learn. Kind of like a human.
And over time, she evolves.
Yes.
And with her evolving... Then here comes the first hard twist in the movie, and we won't give you necessarily every single twist in the movie, but this one's important. There's an interaction with a dog.
Right. The dog is the main, like, not the main part, but you see the dog whenever they first bring Katie home, and I think before even M3GAN is introduced, and of course there's a hole in a fence. We'll say that much. The dog is unleashed. There's mention of a collar, shocking collar, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the neighbor is very, it's a dog. He's going to do whatever he's going to do. So what do you want me to do about it? Type of attitude. Yeah. And something happened with M3GAN in this general movie. And the thing from the aunt was, you were created to protect Katie, to help her from feeling harm, basically. I know there's more to it than that, but that's the general gist, and it will kind of lead you into understand why M3GAN went crazy, basically.
And the key thing in here, and this is for anybody that has a software background or anyone who doesn't, the word parameter. The way that they set this, the algorithms and different things, if there were certain defined things that the aunt did not do,
right,
that allowed M3GAN to overcome her.
Right. She was her emotional support person. Like, what did the CPS lady say? It was
some type of attachment.
Survivor attachment, or something like that. Basically stating that if a child loses both of their parents, they're going to find somebody to attach themselves to. And the CPS lady warned her. She goes, she is becoming attached to this robot, this toy, this whatever you want to call her, but she should be really attaching herself to you, because that's what happened. The aunt built the robot not necessarily so she could take care of her, but because she didn't know how to take care of her. I don't think, because she wasn't mother material.
Right. And over time, the robot became a mother figure. And on a side note, there's a story that goes along with the company. There's someone inside the company actually leaking the files, it's a goofy character. He's leaking the files. He even leaked the files of M3GAN, which if you didn't pay attention, you missed it in the movie. He leaked those files to a rival company, and...
but it didn't show him actually giving that information up. So that's where I was confused.
Well, he transferred the file over. So
right, but maybe that leads into the sequel, because of course, you can find all this stuff on Wikipedia, but there's talk about M3GAN 2.0. So I'm wondering if when he stole that data and put it on whatever device he had, and that's going to show us where he leaked that information to, and they're going to have already produced it, but where she shut everything down, that it's no longer her design of M3GAN.
True.
I wonder if that could be a possibility.
And I'll say this is a pretty good movie. It has a good runtime of 102 minutes, so it's not very long. That was one of the things about this that kind of hooked me in, because it was real quick. We went to Applebee's, like we definitely do every Tuesday, and we got back, watched this movie. Then by the time we were finished with it, we threw on our favorite show, Criminal Minds, and then went to sleep. So overall, we normally don't do this, but I want to put this out there to let you know that there's still good inside cinema. Even though I'm not one that's going to go to the theater very much, I still encourage people to go because it's something to do. This movie's budget was only $12 million, and worldwide it's already made $125.4 thus far. So, that's a success for this year. That's probably one of the biggest films thus far. It's not on any Avatar level, but anyway.
Right. It's not unhinged status that we're going to sit here and watch it all the time. But I would watch it again.
Yeah, no doubt on that. And I'll say, just thus far, for getting us back into actually watching movies, right, this was a really good film. I mean, we haven't done Avatar or anything else, but...
Right. I will say, if you have a dislike of animal cruelty, you might want to skip a part. I don't think it shows anything.
No.
And then there's another part with a younger boy. So if you have children, you definitely don't want to let them watch this movie until you watch it first, because there is some rough stuff in it. If you think your child can handle killings, that's fine. Whatever, you're the parent. It's your prerogative, your decision, your choice. But I would definitely watch it before I let anyone younger than 12, 13 years old watch it by themselves.
Yeah, and I can go along with that, because, like I said, it's triggering things, and the way that we carry ourselves now, that stuff just handles how it handles, and you just have to go along with a certain narrative. So right, if you're not into the heavy... it's not gory. That's one thing that was very... There
was one part that I thought was really gory, and that was...
The elevator?
Spoiler alert here. It was the ear. I thought that was... Oh my gosh, I sit here and I cringed so much. And then she didn't kill him. She just didn't try to save him either.
Right. So, yeah. So, it's got circumstantial deaths in it.
Right.
But overall, for just being in the very first month of this year...
Yeah.
It turned out to be a pretty good movie. Fast turnaround to get on VOD, which we can never say anything about conversion times on anything, because things do what they're going to do. Right. So, my opinion, just like yours, this is something that is a go see if you have a chance to.
Definitely.
I wouldn't waste much time thinking about it. It's something that you can enjoy. And other than that, I guess we're kind of done. This was a real short one.
Right.
I'm JR.
I'm Stacey.
And this is West Virginia Uncommonplace, and we're signing off.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok, where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at oncommonplace.square.site. Join the email list from the website, and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening, and tune into the next episode.